Fitzroy's scoldings. The butler scrambled even to find footmen willing to subject themselves to Lady Fitzroy's inevitable tirades. The most recent hire had lasted only a week. No one, though, received more harangues than Celia. "It's my destiny." After all, Celia had the same glossy dark hair that curled in exquisite tendrils, the same clear alabaster skin that shone from the portraits at Fitzroy Palace, and the same peaches and cream complexion that had made past portraitures to the manor home think they'd found their Mona Lisa. Unfortunately, even if Celia's resemblance to the Fitzroy family was undeniable, there was one problem. She was not a Fitzroy. She was the maid, just as her mother had been. The countess seemed temporarily satisfied at having criticized Celia's coiffure. "You brought tea. Set it on the table." "But it's for—" The countess gave her an icy frown. "And you brought gingerbread biscuits." "Yes," Celia confirmed. The biscuits were obvious. The scent of ginger and cinnamon wafted toward her nostrils. Christmas was the most delightful time of year. "Do you want to let out all my dresses?" Lady Fitzroy asked. Would you take pleasure in pawing the silks and velvets a person like you should never be allowed to touch?" Celia stiffened. "Of course not, my lady." "Because I assure you, I would make any unseemly pleasure you might experience at the expansion of my waistline not worthwhile." Celia swallowed hard. The gingerbread biscuits were not even intended for Lady Fitzroy. They were for Lady Fitzroy's daughter. Still, given Lady Fitzroy's negative reaction, Celia hardly desired to reveal that. Though Lady Amaryllis sometimes seemed eager to rival her mother in admonishments, Theodosia was the person who was nicest to Celia. Celia had no desire to direct Lady Fitzroy's wrath on anyone else. She placed the tea on a table and left the gingerbread on the tray. Lady Fitzroy picked up a biscuit absent-mindedly and bit into it. Her lashes still moved downward, and for a second her face seemed to be consumed with bliss. Celia almost smiled. Lady Fitzroy's face almost appeared placid, as if reflecting on the taste of cinnamon and treacle. "No one can be immune to the joys of Christmas." "Remember to bring Theodosia's gowns," the countess said. "They are each more valuable than the income you'll ever make in your life." "They are already packed, as are yours." Theodosia and Lady Fitzroy were bound for Yorkshire. Though Celia should be thankful for having fewer dresses to press, she would miss Theodosia. "Humph!" Lady Fitzroy bit into the gingerbread. Celia took the countess's silence as a sign to leave. She curtsied and hastened from the room. Celia hurried down the steps and made tea. The kitchen bustled with activity. "Did Lady Theodosia read the article yet?" Polly asked. Celia shrugged. "Lady Fitzroy called me into her room, but I don't think she had." "Good," the cook said. "Disgraceful pamphlet. You should never have been reading it, Polly. It doesn't belong to you." "It was so tempting," Polly said. "And one does want to know which colours are in fashion." "Green and red," Cook said sternly. "It's Christmas." Celia smiled and added fresh gingerbread onto the tray for Theodosia. She wiped sweat from her brow. Cook assessed her. "Don't you forget the housekeeping position. This will all be over soon." Celia smiled. "A lovely thought." Lady Fitzroy would never agree to give her a reference, but the housekeeper would retire soon and had offered to train Celia to take on some of her duties. She pushed open the wooden door that led from the kitchen and hurried up the rickety stairs, expertly avoiding the loose step. Lady Fitzroy might value sumptuous surroundings, but that desire did not extend to the most meagre maintenance of the servants' divisions. Celia ducked her head to avoid a beam and then opened the door to the main quarters. She then rushed up the stairs, hastened along the corridor, and entered the room. Theodosia reclined on a chaise lounge, clutching a fan in an elegant manner, even though the drop in the temperature scarcely demanded a need for one. Her lace gown was elegant against the tufted upholstery, and letters, likely from the Vicomte, were strewn over her lap. Theodosia had returned to England speaking of a Frenchman with such enthusiasm that her uncle apparently had been driven to depart the Côte d'Azur early. Well, at least Theodosia didn't seem upset by the depiction in Matchmaking for Wallflowers.